Rolling. Action.
Hi, I'm Loretta Rose, and you have just entered into the hot spot at Spotlight Studios. Welcome to the hot spot here at Spotlight Studios. I'm so happy that you've joined me for today's show. It is our very first show, and I'm excited because the segment is on one of my favorites, love, marriage, and relationships. So we have a dynamic couple, married couple, that is going to share with us how love works for them. You got to stay tuned because this is going to be great. This is the hot spot, and I am Loretta Rose. And our guest, as I promised, is a dynamic duo couple. We have Monica and Vincent Hunter. They're on for our segment that is called Love, Marriage, and Relationships. And they're going to share with us how love works for them. So, ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome this wonderful couple, Monica and Vincent Hunter. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm so excited.
We're excited. We are. We've been ready for this and waiting for it. So thanks for having us.
Y'all are so much love. Love is what you exude through your marriage, through your profession, through your family. And when I told people about you all, they were like, oh, they are so cool. People love y'all. So I'm just so blessed to be able to have you all for the very first show. So this segment is one of my favorites.
Okay.
Why? It's because I love love, I love marriage, and I love strong relationships. Mm-hmm. People out there, our viewers, and people in the world, they dream of that. They desire that, they want that. And I want to have conversations about it and let them see that it is possible. Mm-hmm. It is possible. And then recently on social media, Monica, you said when you all come on, you were going to talk about love and how opposite attracts.
Yes.
Oh, I was like, okay, somebody was like, we need to know more about that.
Yes.
So first of all, help everyone to know how long you all been married.
Well, we've been married for 20 years. So this year in July made 20 years for us. So
congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
So, so we met in college, so we're college sweethearts. I know it may sound a little cliche, but we really are. We met our freshman year in college, and we got married right after I graduated from college. And we've been on this journey together for quite some time. So we've actually been together for 25
years.
Yeah, and married for 20.
And I remember the exact day that I first saw her.
Oh.
Where we were at. We were in the cafeteria on campus. I remember the exact outfit she had on from the top. This little white top to, back then they had these things called skirts, which is like a shorts in the back, skirt in the front type deal.
Yeah.
And she had on these white socks and these white little platform shoes. I remember exactly what she had on that day.
The outfit doesn't sound cute, but I'm sure it was cute. No, I'm not sure.
25 years ago, it probably was.
But that says a lot about you, Vincent. So detailed. You remember. A lot of men don't remember the thing that we wore so long ago, because my husband and I, we were having a marriage group night with our church, and that was one of the questions. What did your spouse wear on their first date or when you first met him? Some of us couldn't remember because it was so long ago.
And a step beyond that, when I saw her, and I told her this, I said, I'm going to marry her.
And it's funny because he says that, I was walking through the cafeteria, and he tells me every time, like, what I have on, and we joke about it all the time, about the outfit. And I'm like, I don't remember that. And it's so funny, but it's also so us, is that, everything that's happened in our relationship and our marriage has definitely been something that's been God ordained. And when I talk about it, and I'm like, I don't remember that. I don't know where. And he was like, he can remember every step, but it's like, for me, it's so surreal because people are watching even when you don't know that they are watching. And so it's a reflection of how we want to live our lives, is to just, walk in a way to where when people see us, they see something in us. And so we joke about it, but it's also the beautiful thing about, what he can see or he saw in me, or what I can see in him that we may not be able to see in ourselves sometimes. So I give him a hard time about the outfit, but it does touch my heart that he knew from the moment he saw me.
I love that, Vincent. When you say, when you saw her, you knew that was going to be your wife. I mean, because some people, this is one of the questions I was going to ask you, because I recently went to a single mother's brunch, and that was one of the questions. How do you know he or she is the one? So, it was just something you felt, or?
It was definitely something that you feel. It was something that I felt, and it was from and I wasn't the most spiritual person back then, but I knew when I laid my eyes on her that that's going to be my wife. I could see it, and from that day forward, I just knew. And from a spiritual standpoint, that God was going to align things the way I wanted them to be. I said the way they needed to be, but I wanted them to be at that point. And even the very first time that I met her great-grandmother, the very first time, her grandmother said the exact same thing.
That's beautiful.
That's going to be your husband.
And it's funny because I never took. You don't take just anybody around your family, you take things because my family and those things are very sacred to me. That's the heart of who I am. And so when you bring somebody around your family, it's because you really care about that person. And Vincent is just it was a natural evolution for us, is that more than anything, he's my friend. So we're still friends. So we have our good days, and we have our days where my kids even joke and say, y'all act like brother and sister sometimes. We have some days where we're just like, give me 50 feet.
Wow.
But at the end of the day, he is my friend. And we had such a close friendship that it was just natural. I didn't even think about it. It was just natural to bring him into my world and bring him into the things that were important to me.
And it was one of those things, everything just fell in line. Her dad just surprised everybody when she asked if I could come visit, because nobody expected that.
Wow.
Yeah, so
nobody.
Some background on that. So I'm from Texas.
Okay.
And so of course Vincent's from Alabama. And we went to school at Alabama A&M University in Huntsville, Alabama. And I can remember the first summer after we met, because I met him my freshman year. And that first summer, I was so nervous because I hadn't brought, people around my family a lot, and especially not from college, bringing that into my world at home. And my mom, I asked my mom, said, hey, Vincent wants to come, and he wants to stay with us for 2 weeks. Over the summer.
Wow.
And because I was like, I'm so in love with him, and he's there in Alabama and I'm here for the summer, and we had this time apart. And my mom was like, she wasn't going to be the one to say no. So she said, okay, ask your dad. Because she just knew your dad is going to shoot this down, and there is no way that he's coming, and definitely not to stay for 2 weeks. And I remember being so nervous, and I, went and I asked my dad. Normally that would have just shot it down, that I wouldn't even ask my dad, just like, never mind, I'm not going to ask him. And I went and I asked him, and my dad says, okay. My mom was so shocked. And she was like, what? Like, that is not the way this was supposed to happen. But at the end of the day, my dad was like, hey, she's spending time with this person in college. We haven't really had a chance to meet him and get to know him.
That's right.
And so for my dad, it was an opportunity for him to see, who is this that Monica's actually, thinking to bring around and make part of our world. So he did. He came and he stayed for 10 days. Wow. Funny thing. So he hitched a ride, because he didn't have like a way or the money and stuff to get there.
So
Driving
my sister's
trucks,
boyfriend,
yeah.
he was a truck driver.
Okay.
And
Wow.
he used to drive all around the country. And then he told me that he was going to Missouri. Then he was going to he was going to Texas. I was like, "You going to Texas? You going to Texas? Okay." So that summer I became a truck driver.
And I
worked with him so I could catch a ride to Texas for that trip.
Sweet.
And
That's beautiful.
it happened.
Look at that. He meant business. See, women, this is when he mean business. He gonna find a way to get to you. I love this. I love that. And you didn't give up either, did you?
No.
Wow. So, Monica, what type of young lady you were? Because apparently it was something about you that just really drew him to you. And let me tell you why I say that. Because y'all story is similar to me and my husband. Mm-hmm. I was 12 years old when my husband told me I'm gonna be his wife, and I was like, "Man, you crazy? Please, really? You done lost your mind." Who thinking about marriage at this young? Because we grew up together as children. Mm-hmm. Well, my grandmother said too, when I was about 18 years old, she said, "I may not live to see it, but that's going to be your husband." I always held on. I value her wisdom, but I held on to what she said. But to be honest, I didn't like him like that. I'm like, no. We're too different.
Yes.
But he never gave up.
Yes.
He never gave up. And he was so persistent. And his passion for coming after me won me over. Yes. And I asked him, why? And he said, "You were different. Mm-hmm. You weren't like the others." Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I hope the women hear that.
Mm-hmm. And, sometimes people say, and I don't think it's like playing hard to get or anything like that. Good. Because honestly, from our freshman year, I can remember, and we even have taken pictures at the dorm. So he would like come to the dorm, and we would sit on the steps, and people would have to say, "Excuse me," so we could, they could get by us because we were we were together like all of the time. But truly, Vincent was my friend, and we met through mutual friends. And I can remember we would sit in the lobby at the school, and we would play Uno cards together, and we would just hang out, and we would just kick it. And I wasn't really familiar a lot with like dating and all of that. And this was my first time away from home. Vincent had a car too, so I'm gonna be honest. He did have transportation, and he bought me food. He knows the way to my heart is food.
That's what she was familiar with, because all the other girls were going to McDonald's and Burger King, and we were going to Red Lobster every day.
Yeah, so he was feeding me
eating.
too. I was eating, and it was like he was wooing me.
Wow.
And we look back at it, and I was like, "Boy, you didn't have any money. Like, where were you getting all this money to spend on me?" But it does go to say that if someone is really interested in you, they'll go that extra mile. And it's not like other girls weren't interested in Vincent or other guys weren't interested in me, because we were so young. Like we weren't, we didn't even know what it really meant to be serious, but we did know that we had a connection.
Beautiful.
And so even when we would go through our spells where we're like trying to not have a connection, it was just a natural connection. And that's what continues to push us in our marriage. So I think what it was about me is that I was his friend, and we just naturally evolved that way. And it was kind of scary, honestly, being that young, when someone is very attracted to you, and you're kind of like in and you're kind of out. So we've had to grow through that. And with that growth, it's been some real good stuff, but it's been a lot of growing pains too. So I never want people to think that what they see in us now is what it's always been. We have had to grow, because if you think about it, I was 18, when I met him.
Right.
I was still a child. I was still a girl trying to figure out who I was. So I didn't even know what it was about me that attracted him. I just knew that there was an attraction there, and it was something that was hard for us to fight even when we wanted to.
I love it. I love it. We're going to take a break, and we're going to come back talking about love. They now have a ministry called Love Works, and we're going to talk about more when we come back. This is the Hot Spot at Spotlight Studios here on Columbus State University campus.
Love Works was birthed at a time where our love was still very much in the development phase. Even though we got married in 2000, it was probably at one of those rough patches in our marriage. And we were in New York at the time, and we were sitting in one of my best girlfriend's living room. And I remember we were talking, and it's raining outside, and she started asking us, and at the time she was single, she started asking us about our relationship and how we make it work. And because she had been with us through a lot of the ups and the downs and all the pivots and turns of our relationship, and the one thing that we kept coming back to is all the work we had to do to put in it. But we believed that God put us together, and we believed in a bigger purpose for our marriage. And I remember her saying, she was like, y'all are going to use that to bless other people. That's not just for you all, that's for somebody else. And she was like, that's because y'all's love works, and we work our love. And we were all like, love works. Okay, love works. And now we own to something.
Yes.
And I remember just writing it down, and it was just a moment in time where something manifested, and honestly it's evolved to different meanings at different phases in our lives. At some phases it has been ministries with churches. At some phases it has been ministries one-on-one with couples, and at this phase that we're in now, God has really evolved it to not only marriage, but family, because our children are a core part of who we are. Like this is, if you get Vincent and you get Monica, then you get our 3 children with us, and it's a party of 5, and it's always a party with the Hunters, right? But that's a big part of who we are. But then in the current state that we're in, and different things God has given us through my husband's business and different things he's blessed me with, it's also our community. And so Love Works has really become about marriage, family, and community, because none of it works without love.
That's right.
None of it. And so it's just been a fundamental part of who we are, and we're just here for whatever God allows that to be, whether it be through ministry, whether it be through one-on-one, whether it be through sitting here and sharing our testimony with you and sharing it with other people. That's what Love Works is to us. We don't try and put a label on it. We just are letting God evolve in the way that he sees it.
Because it all goes back to that fundamental thing, love.
Yes.
Wow. I love that.
And it goes back to, like I said, that fundamental thing of love. God's greatest commandment is to love. Is to love, and that's been our foundation. That's been our foundation, our faith.
Yeah.
And as we evolve over time, like Monica said, the ministry has changed so many times and evolved from just working with churches, working with individuals, now working with the love in our communities. And through our faith, we want to be examples of God's word. Amen. So that gives us our foundation. That's our foundation. And whenever things are tough, we always fall back on that. Yeah. That, we may not at this point be getting along. We may not even like each other for this 5-10 minutes, an hour. But we do know we love each other.
Exactly.
And through God, it works.
Exactly.
It works.
Exactly. And that love is going to bring you right back where you
always
need to
does.
Be.
It always does.
I love it. Talking about love in marriage, how do you all, because you all still date, and I want to share this because there's a lot of couples that don't still know how to date, I want to know, how do you all manage to prioritize still dating? Because you all make appointments to date one another.
For me, in my house, it's God, then us, then the kids, and everything else falls after that. Everything else falls after that. So when my kids get older, they're off to college or whatever in their careers and life, they'll be gone, and it'll just be me and my wife.
That's true.
So I don't want to be left with a miserable relationship now that the kids are gone. I see so many people get caught up in that they put everything into the kids, and then when the kids are gone, they're left looking at each other, and they don't even know each other anymore.
They don't even know each other. That's good.
So with us, it has to be a priority that we come first.
Yeah.
Wow.
We come first, no matter what. We come first. And we enjoy a lot of the same things. So it's easy for us to come up with date nights. And like I said, one of the main things we love is food. We love nice restaurants. We love nice food, experiencing new things. So it's like almost like a hobby.
It's like a hobby for us to get out and eat. And to what my husband was saying is, he'll joke, but he'll tell the kids, like, if they are trying to play us against each other, he's like, let me go talk to my wife first. He's like, because y'all not loyal. He said these kids not loyal. They gonna leave us one day, babe. Don't let them trick us up.
That's good, Vincent.
And
I
so,
like that.
You know, we have 3 girls, and so they know that we tell them, we're like, I mean, we'll vote y'all off the island, you know. So but we make it a priority, and it's hard. It's hard because, you know, we have 3 daughters that are very different. They're doing different activities. So we're normally pulling ourselves in so many different directions. And food brings us together. So one thing I urge couples to do is find your common place. It doesn't have to be anything drastic. It doesn't have to be, you know, sometimes now we may get food and we may just sit in the car and eat. We may sit in the bed sometimes and go through cards. We have these cards where we ask each other questions and we kind of just talk through things. We Netflix and chill. You know, we find different things that work for us. You know, we are somewhat homebodies because we are out so much and we work with people a lot. It pulls on us a lot too. So if you're not the person that wants to date and go out, that's okay. Just do what works for you, because a lot of times staying at home and just the 2 of us being together is like a perfect date night for us. So.
Wow.
But you got to make your spouse a priority.
That's good.
I agree.
You have to, no matter what.
That's
You get busy with work. If you own a business, you get busy with that, and you can get caught up in your jobs and in your business. And you realize that you're not spending time with the person that you love. And that gives way for the enemy to start planting seeds of discord in your relationship. And that's the last thing you want. So the same things that you did when you were dating before you got married, you got to do those same things.
Wow.
You got to do those same things. And like I have a spouse that will remind me sometimes, like, hey, you know, it's been a while since I had flowers.
Okay.
Yes.
So which is okay.
And we have to, and we trust each other. And that's a big component, is we trust each other to respect, to hear each other's heart. Because even though I may be busy and he tells me that he needs something, you know, there was a time in our marriage where I'd be like, oh, here he goes, pulling on me again. Like, I don't have anything else to give. But I trust his heart enough that when he tells me something, even if I'm busy, I have to stop and be like, wait a minute. He just voiced to me a need. Those are things that I prayed for him to open his mouth and communicate it to me. So the least I can do is listen to it. And so I have to, we have to trust each other enough to listen. And you know, when they meet that need, he got me flowers the other week. And even though it was just sitting on my desk and I was working like a mad woman, it just changed the whole trajectory of my whole day, just because those flowers were there. And it's those little things that really matter and mean a lot.
I love it. And you know, you pretty much have answered one of the questions I was going to ask you, is how do you keep the flame burning? Y'all make time for one another. You have those dates. You listen to one another. Sometimes couples get so busy talking, but they're not listening to the other. And that's what you all are pretty much saying. You all are pretty much giving out some good counseling.
I will say we have one tool that we consistently go back to over and over again. And there's a book called The 5 Love Languages. And we consistently go back there. I mean, and we probably started reading that book probably about 5-10 years into our marriage, and we are constantly pulling from it. And so one of the things that we've really taken into our marriage is what we have learned, we don't let it die down. It's like we still pull from that toolbox. So we don't have to go to as many counseling sessions as we used to, you know, and now we don't have to go, but we have toolbox that we can pull from.
That.
And we use those tools to remind us like, oh, that's a need of his. That's not just something he's telling me he wants. That's a need. That's a need of hers. She's not just telling me something she wants. That's something that she needs. And so it gives a different level of importance to it when you look at it that way.
And I know you just mentioned it. I know that's not what we're talking about, but if you caught that, we did say that we have been to counseling before.
Yes.
So a lot of people are in relationships and they think, well, I can't go to counseling. People are going to think this, or it's going to be this situation. It's okay.
It's okay,
if you can't talk about it, have an adult conversation between each other, because sometimes things get heated. Then you need a mediator, and there's nothing wrong with having that mediator. So that helped us out early on in our marriage.
Yes,
that's good.
Absolutely.
Those are good tips. I hope the viewers are listening, because that is right there is absolutely awesome what you're saying, and it does make a difference, because sometimes people just don't know how to listen.
Yes,
they don't know how to listen, but sometimes if you have someone else to be that mediator, like you said, that will help you to understand, to open your eyes to see from a different lens. Because sometimes we're so focused on what we see, not what the other person see. Wow, I love it. Also, one thing about them, even though they eat out a lot, the reason they stay so fit and hot with the way they look is because Mr. Hunter is one of the baddest fitness coach in this southeastern region, I must add. So if they go eat, he go, I saw that during the midst of the pandemic. He had you working out too.
Yes, he had the poor kids out there. I tell people we work out together sometimes, but in order to keep our happy home happy, we don't work out together a lot.
And Vincent, it's like it's your ministry also.
It is. Hybrid fitness, when I started it, before I started, it was a vision from God. One night, probably 2:30, 3 a.m. in the morning, God gave me the vision for hybrid fitness. He gave me the name, he gave me the logo, he gave me the colors of the logo, everything. And just got up and start writing some stuff. And then we start looking at logos and was like, nah, that's not it. Nah, that's not it. And then we came across it like, that's it.
Oh, wow.
And even if you see our logo, the logo represents Christ Jesus on the cross.
Wow.
If you see that, how the logo is designed, it represents that. And when I started Hybrid, it was one of those things where I want to help people mentally, physically, and from a spiritual standpoint, mind, body, and soul. Because if all of those things, you're not affecting all of those things, none of it will work long term.
Wow.
You'll have temporary success, and then people will go back to the same way they used to be. But if you can actively minister to all of those areas, then that's when you can truly change people's lives. And it has truly not just changed the lives of our members, but even minister to us, where we hear stories of people that have come to the gym and they were going through a divorce or just lost a parent, and by coming and receiving, not just because we have fun, but we speak into our members as well. And in that process, it has helped them heal through trauma. And, and it's one of those things you say, well, God, I may not be where I want to be, but God, I thank you that I was able to help this person through this. I thank you that we were able to minister to them when they needed it most. And that's just a feeling that you can't get just from anywhere. So I love what I do. There's not a day that I get up that, when the alarm clock goes, I get up most mornings at 3:30. When that alarm clock goes off, I never hit snooze. I'm up. I'm ready to go.
It doesn't even feel like work, because that's what you've been called to do.
It feels like I haven't worked a day since I left corporate America. It feels like I haven't worked.
Tell us about, because this sister right here trying to get over there, Because I want to wear that black
She gonna
dress.
get on
I want to wear that black dress. Tell us about that.
So we have a challenge at Hybrid Fitness called the Little Black Dress Challenge, and sorry guys, it's all females.
Okay.
But it's where we get ladies to come in, and they commit to dropping 2 dress sizes, and they have to purchase a little black dress before the challenge starts. And it's 6 weeks long, and our goal is to show ladies how to change their lifestyles where they can achieve success when it comes to their fitness, when it comes to nutrition, when it just comes to even things like getting rest, prioritizing that and making sure that you're taking care of your body from a physical standpoint, spiritual standpoint. Because even though we're talking about fitness all the time, we have opportunities. You may come in hybrid at any moment, and it may be a group of ladies over in the corner praying with somebody.
Yes.
Because that's just the environment and the culture and the fitness family that we have. If you need me to coach you on nutrition, we can talk about that. But it's been plenty of times in my office I've sat there and prayed with ladies.
Praise God.
And prayed with people because that's what they needed.
Yes.
They had just lost a family member or something. They didn't need me to talk about nutrition in that moment. They needed me to encourage them and provide hope to them, to let them know that God was still with them. They may not see it all the time, but He's still there. He's still the same God that He was yesterday and the day before. He's that same God today. So
and you're taking us back to love.
Love.
That's love.
Taking us back to love. And so that Little Black Dress Challenge, we've been doing it now for probably 4 or 5 years, and we've changed hundreds and thousands of ladies' lives through that challenge. And they love it. We work, we have fun, but then even at the end of it, we do something that gyms have never done in this area that I've seen. We get together and we do a professional photo shoot at the end with the ladies in their little black dresses, and then we do like celebration dinners. We go to the nice restaurants, and just even in that, and it's not about the fitness piece, but Monica has seen this where ladies, and this goes back to marriage as well, because it'll be ladies that do these challenges. They get dressed up, and you can see it on their faces. They love how they feel, the self-confidence, self-esteem, everything is back. And then we go out on these celebration dinners, and they'll sit there and they'll say, hey, I haven't been out on a nice date or got dressed up and felt this great in a long time. But they're married. I'm like, why? So there's a lack and a disconnect right there.
Good.
But if I'm able to provide that for a moment or for a night through my gym, then God, thank you.
And that's why I say that that's your ministry.
It is.
Because I've seen that, and it's
absolutely is.
so inspiring to
Yes.
see. And to see the women feeling so empowered, looking beautiful like they are, but it's like they have another a level of confidence.
When those ladies are in that photo shoot, they know they look good. They're not thinking they look good. They know they look good.
I love it. Now, Monica, yourself, you're an author. In your book, I want you to share the love that you put in that book.
Yeah, so Mommy Loves Me, Can't You See? It's still surreal that I have this book, but I love it. I love everything about it. With the opportunity to share with a mother who's a, Caucasian mother that has a African American daughter, and the opportunity that I had just to help her daughter with something as simple as her hair brought about the book. And, the book is all about love. And the book is about the premise of what I saw in that mother-daughter relationship is a mom who is different from her daughter, but they're alike in so many ways. And at the core of it all, the reason why their love works is because they love one another. And so the mother is there and connecting with community to help in establishing like what to do with her hair, and just bringing about the true love of a mother, that it doesn't matter about the color of your skin or the texture of your hair. At the basic premise, we were created to love one another. And so I'm in love with that little book. And I'm in love every time someone gets a chance to read it, or a little child reads it and sees the simplicity of love.
I love it because it is encouraging children to embrace who they are.
Yes.
I love it. And their story, that story went viral. We're going to take a final break, and then when we come back, we are going to play the love game with Monica and Vincent. They didn't know they were going to have to do this.
Okay.
We'll be back. This is the Hot Spot. We're giving you some hot talk and hot topics right here. We'll be back after this.
Yo guys, my name is Coach Vince and I am the owner of Hybrid Fitness here in Columbus, Georgia. And Hybrid Fitness is Columbus Reader's Choice favorite weight loss center for the last several years, favorite CrossFit company. Even though we're not even CrossFit, we still win awards. That means we have a great gym environment for you guys to come check out. And I'm just here to share a couple things with you today, guys, about fitness, about your health. One thing is, if you're sitting on the couch, get off. It's time to get off the couch. The best way to get off the couch is just to become active. You don't have to, you can come to my gym. Of course, we would love to have you, but just get off the couch. Start walking, start taking a walk around your neighborhood, go to the park, play some activities with the kids, whatever you need to do to just become active. That starts your fitness journey. Once you do that, that'll give you the motivation to start doing other things in fitness, like joining a gym, like joining some type of sport, recreational sport. And the other thing, guys, is we got to start focusing on our nutrition. Nutrition is the key component of living a healthy and fit lifestyle, because you can do all the workouts that you want in the gym, outside. None of that's going to matter unless you get in tune with your nutrition. Nutrition is like 90% of the game, guys. So when it comes to nutrition, easy things: portion control. Portion control. We got to control our portion sizes. If you go out to eat, 9 times out of 10, they put big portions on your plate. You're going to overeat. Don't do it. Portion control. Just lift up your hand like this. Whatever can fit in the palm of your hand, that's what you need to consume when it comes to your protein, when it comes to your fats, your carbs, your potatoes, all your vegetables. That's all you got to do. It's not that hard. Don't overcomplicate it. Keep it simple, and then you're going to start seeing results. But if you want to join a gym family, we're called the Hybrid Fitness family here in Columbus, Georgia. You can check me out on Facebook at Vincent Hunter or Hybrid Fitness Facebook page, or you can check us out on Instagram at Hybrid Fit Dude. Either one, you can connect with us. And I tell you what, if you're seeing this, say that Coach Vince told you to come, and I'll give you a couple days for free just to come try us out. Come check us out at Hybrid Fitness.
Welcome back. This is the Hot Spot at Spotlight Studios. Thank you so much for joining us on today's show. We're about to bring the show to a close, but before we close, we're going to do a love game with this lovely couple, because love works all through everything they do. They didn't know they were going to have to do this, but thank you. They're good sports.
Yes.
Well, so I want to have a little fun to help married couples to see that we can really rock as married couple. And then this is going to be to see how much y'all remember too as married couples.
Okay.
So they both are going to write answers down. They don't know what it's going to be until after we go through the 5 questions. So, all right. So the first question is, when did you know, and you probably have already said this, but when did you know for sure that he was the one or she was the one? When did you know for sure? Or what was it that happened that to let you know, like, okay, this is the one? Because we have a lot of ladies out there, and men too, want to know, like, when do you know that's the one? Question number 2.
Oh.
And I'm going to ask you 5 totally.
Okay.
Now, question number 2. Who was attracted to who first? I think we know that. I think we already know that. And then number 3, who said I love you first? Who said I love you first? And then number 4, what do you admire about your spouse? What is that thing that you admire so much about your spouse, you know, that just really just set them apart, you know? And then our last question, I think we kind of know some of that, but then again, they may give us another answer. What keeps the love flaming in your marriage? You know, and I'll say this, some couples because they don't date, they don't have that excitement, especially married couple, that they can have. Mona like, So what keeps the love flaming in your marriage? And when I tell you they go out and have date and they have fun, they're always dating. They never stop dating. And I would encourage married couples as well. Don't ever stop dating. Don't ever stop dating. Okay, so the first question, when did you know each other was the one? We'll start with you, Monica.
So I put like how I knew that he was the one was how he pursued me. And we talked about that, but his diligence from the very beginning, and even I remember when I graduated from college, we were in that zone of were we going to be together, were we not, and I had moved to New York. And I remember him packing up and moving, and I was already in New York, and he moved from Alabama to New York. And as we talked today about the very beginning, he has always pursued me because he knew that I was his wife, and it was that pursuing me.
That's how you ended up in New York.
It is.
Wow, because I know his sisters, and never knew how Vincent come from Alabama to New York.
He packed it
I
up.
originally went to help her move to New York and find an apartment and all of that, and I was up there a few weeks, and then it came time for me to come back. I had to, because I was still in school. I had to come back, so it was like it was getting harder and harder as the days came back, and I came back to Alabama, and I told my family, I'm leaving, I'm moving to New York. They were like, what? Nah, I can go to school when I get there. I can start back when I get there.
That is so beautiful.
Because I knew what I wanted. It was her, and I wasn't going to allow that to get away.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about. I love it. I love it. Oh, y'all gonna make me cry. I love it. That's beautiful. So yes, he meant business.
He did.
Y'all better take some notes.
He did.
Trying to help you. That's beautiful. Okay. So Monica, you said that,
Yes.
and then
And for me, it was just like I mentioned earlier, from the first time that I laid eyes on her, I knew from a spirit standpoint that was my wife. God showed it to me. That's your wife. She's gonna be your wife. And plus, it helped that I agreed with the Holy Spirit because she was a dime. She was hot to me. So I was like, okay, yeah, I can work with that. I can work with that.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So we know who was attracted to who first. You were.
I was attracted to her first.
I still don't remember. I try and pull out in my mind all of these things, but I was attracted to him. But more than anything, he's just fun. Like, he's just a fun guy.
Yeah.
I was attracted to her and all of her 95
I was
pounds.
like 90 pounds. I was like, I don't know. I guess he thought I had potential.
I love it. I love it. Who said I love you first?
I put Vince.
I probably did.
I'm sure he did. And in our relationship, he is. Like, in the gym, he goes hard, and he's a guy's guy. But with me, he's super sweet. And
and it's crazy because, like, the ladies at the gym be like, man, I just feel sorry for Monica.
Yeah.
Because she has to live with you. Because how I coach in the gym and, work with them. But that's because I love what I do. But at the same time, it's like, she's my friend. I get to just relax and let all the walls down and just be me. In general, I love my wife. I love being around my kids, and I love just making them happy. So
That's beautiful. I love that. What do you admire about your spouse?
So for me, it's definitely his dedication. So when Vincent is dedicated to something, he's all in. We talk about it all the time. There's no middle ground with my husband. He's either all out, and I'm like, sir, you're not doing it, you're not moving, or he's all in. And when he is all in, nothing can stop him. So I love his dedication. He does. He gets up at 3:30 every morning, never hits the alarm clock, and he is full throttle. And I love that about him because I just know that with that ambition, he's always, in that dedication to what he does, he's always going to provide for us and always going to protect us. And so as a woman, that gives me confidence. Even in the not so good times, I know who he is. So that dedication is a lot to me.
He's consistent.
He is consistent.
Consistent.
Yes.
Okay. And what do you admire about your sweet Monica?
The thing that I admire most is her heart. She has a heart of gold. A lot of times she has this like tough exterior. She plays this tough role, but underneath she has a heart of gold. Like for not just for me or our kids, but for everybody. For a stranger on the street, she would do anything. And it just shows a testimony. She has a testimony of helping people in the past and of just going above and beyond to help people that she doesn't even know. And I love that about her. And she shows God's love. And I go a step further and say that foundation was given to her by her grandparents, her grandfather. And even in that, from the day one, I've admired her grandparents and her grandfather.
That's beautiful.
And to the point, I've always been his grandson. That's what he calls me, his grandson. But and that's just a legacy of love that was left from him and given to her, and she continues to pass that along.
Our last question was, what keeps the love flaming? Just keep it where, it's like new all over, all the time.
For me, it's humor. It's humor. Like, we are silly. Like, we are always silly. Even in serious situations, we find a reason to joke. And sometimes we probably shouldn't be joking. It probably should be serious. But that keeps us flaming, and it keeps us desiring one another. Because even in times of conflict, we can bring humor into it, and we find a connection. And I go back to the flame for me is that he is truly my friend. So I don't want it to sound cliche, because if we ever come back, we can talk about all of the rocky spots of our relationship. And there have been a lot. There have been a lot. But I am hot for this man because he's my friend. He just touches me in the most intimate place just because I love him as a person, and I love who he is. And so we joke, we kid, we kick it, So I'm like, at the end of the day, no matter what happens, that's my dude. And nothing changes there.
I love it.
I'm not sure if he's going to keep it PG. So
no, I am.
I'm looking at him like,
that's all right. Look, I saw his comment about, let's go and make love work.
I'm like, Loretta.
I misinterpreted. I was reading that wrong. So, but that's part of it. But it goes back to the book we mentioned earlier today about the 5 love languages, and knowing her love language, and then trying to fulfill that love language. And what keeps it hot is I may take out all the trash in the house, trash in the kitchen, all the girls' rooms, get all the trash out the bathrooms and make sure it's clean. And for crazy enough, that could be that for us, that might be foreplay. Because it's like because that's her, that's one of acts of service is one of her love languages.
My love language.
So when I do those those things, I take out the trash or make sure everything's taken care of with the cars, and everything's taken care of with the house and the yard and all those things, and just doing the things that a man should do for his house. That's one of her love languages.
I love it.
So that in return is like a turn on for her.
I love it. Yes. I love it. Yes, because it's like he's paying attention to what you want and what you need.
Yes.
And through your actions, you're talking.
Yes.
Paying attention to what the things that she needs, not the things I think she needs.
Yes, that's good. That's a whole nother show.
Yes.
I like
then
that.
I can keep it hot.
Well, for as we get ready to close out, I enjoyed it. Thank you all, because you all didn't even know you were going to have to do that.
It was fun.
But for those that are watching, we may have some people out there watching, and they want to be in this place, but to help the people to understand, it took a process.
Yes.
A lot of time they see all this glorious stuff at this point, but through the good, through the bad, through the thick, through the thin, through the rough, through the smooth. The love brought you through.
Yes.
And we want to help them be encouraged, whether they're married, dating and waiting, because some of the followers, they're praying for that soulmate, that purpose mate, that life partner. But you all have proven in a great example of when it's joined divinely. It works.
Yes.
We see the love working through you. And it has worked in dimensions I don't think you all ever imagined it would go. That's amazing.
Yes.
2 people.
Yes.
Look at the result of what has manifested as a result of your love coming together as one. You're touching the community. You're touching your people in your business, your profession, your books, ministry, community. I mean, it's just so broad.
I really would just encourage anybody that's in that waiting season or believing God for a relationship or believing God for a manifestation of whatever they desire, is that you're in the perfect place. You're in the perfect place. Wherever God has you, you're in the right place. One thing I tell women in particular when I talk to them about marriage is, don't get caught up on where you see somebody else today. Because when you're looking at social media, you're seeing the highlight reel. Like, you're seeing the highlight. I don't put all of our bad days on social media. I don't put when we're having an argument on social media. You see the highlights. But just know that that is all part of the process, is that there are going to be some good days. There are going to be some bad days. But when God sends you someone that is worth the work, then be willing to open yourself up to investing, because anything that's worth having is worth working for. And the work that we've put into our marriage is a manifestation of the return on investment that we've gotten, and that we've put in that work. We've trusted God, and we continue to put in the work. And it's just a continual process. So there's nothing so dynamic or special about us. It's just the God that we serve. He's no respecter of person. So anything that he does for one person, he's going to do it for another person. And it's just believing that and putting in the work and knowing that that work is going to reap a harvest. It's going to reap a reward, and have fun with it. Everybody says that single life is hot and sexy. I love being married.
I do too.
I love having someone that is mine,
Yes,
and
yes.
building a life together. And that's what we really want to share with people, that marriage is beautiful
It is.
when it's done, and it's done unto the God that created marriage. And so we want to have fun with it, and we want to continue to spread this message of love with other people.
I love it. I love it.
And specifically, I want to speak a word into the men, the guys out there. There are ladies, single ladies out there that I'll say want good men. And you cannot be a good man unless you know who you are first, and unless you have a foundation. And for me, that foundation was my spiritual relationship. And you got to have some type of moral compass that holds you accountable to your actions. And I would suggest that the men really search who you are, what you stand for. Because if you don't know what you stand for, you'll fall for anything. And that is what makes relationships work. When the man, people say it takes both people. It does. But God has put a higher calling on the men, a certain mantle that we have to carry as men to be the leaders of our households, to be the leaders of our relationships. It starts with us. So we have to set that foundation. So I challenge all men to be men of God. I challenge all men to be an example for their households, to be an example. Even if you're single, be the example that you want to be when you get married. Because people are looking women, those single women that you desire, they're paying attention even when you don't think they're looking. And for the married guys, when you made that commitment to your wife, you said, I do. It was for better or for worse, to death do your part, and mean that, stand on that. And I'm telling you, if you put the work in, if you do the work, it works. Love works, but only if you work.
That's good.
So that's just my words to the men out there. Be real men.
Awesome. Thank you all.
Thank you.
I knew you all were going to just be phenomenal.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing this
Thank
with
you.
us.
Absolutely. Well, you've heard it here on the Hot Spot, and wow, they have given us a lot, and I'm pretty sure it is going to inspire you as well, and prayerfully that it will help you along your journey wherever you are. So thank you so much for tuning in to the Hot Spot here at Spotlight Studios. Remember, life is all about what you make it. That what you put out, it will come back. We'll see you next time. Be blessed.
This is too long, my brother.